Music for global change. Creating music that inspires the world. Welcome to the Music for Global Change broadcast. And now here's your hosts, founder and music ambassador Skyler Jett with Deborah, Fennella and Tom Bryant.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to start a revolution? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to start a revolution?
Greetings, namaste, welcome to the Music for Global Change broadcast. Hello, I'm Deborah Fennella and here with the music ambassador Skyler Jett, founder of Music for Global Change, and presenter Tom Bryant. Now, we're really excited and honoured to have our conscious music composer and producer, singer-songwriter, Taja Sevelle. Thank you so much, Taj, for coming on the show today. We're really blessed and excited to be interviewing you. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, you're a very, very busy lady from what I've been reading up, because you're not only a singer-songwriter and write conscious music songs, you're also a humanitarian and also an author, I believe, that you've written 3 books as well, haven't you?
I have. I actually have one of them here. It's called From the Root, a memoir and a philosophy for balance in our world. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Yes, I can.
But I'm excited about this book because it's all about healing our world from the root. And yes. I do talk about some of my experiences with Prince and in the music business, but also my experiences with urban farming and just learning about the world in a way that has, shown me what is necessary to heal our world from the root. And that's why it's so wonderful that I've been connected to Skyler, because I didn't know he was doing healing, working on healing music. And I'm really into that right now. So it's just like perfect timing.
Wow.
You do amazing work, doesn't she, Skyler? As I say,
oh my God.
Conscious music, and I've been reading up that you've sold also 3.5 million CDs subsequently to your deal with Prince as well. So congratulations. What I would love to hear is, I believe in synchronicity and fate, but how did you first meet Prince? Please tell us a little bit how that first came about, and then you signed with Prince, and obviously you write these amazing conscious songs as well, please.
Well, when I decided to become a singer, I started working in various bands. I was in 5 different bands, 4 jazz bands and 1 R&B band. Excuse me.
Wow.
And I was also working at a radio station. And I met Prince at First Avenue, and he offered me a record deal in the same week that I was accepted into the Berklee College of Music.
Wow.
And so obviously it was a fun week and an easy decision to make. And that was the beginning of all of it. And Prince also said, I know you're going to want to write a lot of your own music. And so I was one of the first artists. I was the first artist that he gave freedom to. And so he let me write almost half of my first CD.
Wow.
And Love is Contagious. Love is Contagious was the first song on that CD. And that's a song about, the power of love. And when you see love in the world and you see people who are in love or just love, how happy that makes you feel and how contagious it is to have love spread around whenever you see it. So that was kind of my very first healing piece of music.
How did the idea come to you with Love is Contagious? I don't know if you've seen that film Love Actually, and it starts off where they're in actually the airport and everyone's hugging people goodbye, and obviously again that love, unconditional love, is contagious. Did you have that sort of deja vu moment to yourself back in 1987, because that's when you launched it, didn't you?
So it's a great question. Yeah, well, it's a really good question. Not a lot of people ask that, oddly enough. But I was in love at the time, and the the man that I was in love with, we were like everywhere we would go, we were so happy. And I remember one time I was riding on like the handlebars of his bike, and we were just like laughing, and we were so happy, and people were like driving by and honking and waving, and they would start to smile when they would see us.
Wow.
And so we realized that our love for each other was contagious. And then I went and wrote this song.
Wow.
Wow,
Wow.
what
And
a wonderful story.
that's how it happens. That's how it happens. It's you know, and it's instant gratification too, right?
Yes.
When you
It is. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's what happens to you. It's instant gratification. Like, I feel good now, right? I feel good right now, right? And it doesn't matter how anybody feels. If once it comes over you, you're smiling, and yes, it's going to be contagious, right?
It certainly is.
Exactly. You know, and it's funny because the chorus is so expansive. It's just really just taking it out there. And and it's, I think a lot of people related to it because sometimes before you fall in love or before you feel very happy, sometimes you may feel sad. So the beginning of the song was about two people who were kind of alone, and then something happened out of the blue, you know, the lyric that I have is secrets of surprise, you know, secrets of surprise. I'm not going to sing right now because, because it's so cold out, and it's and I've just come in from outside, and my voice isn't quite there, but
no worries.
And also an area where if I belt it out, I'll attract a lot of attention. But,
exactly.
But yeah, that whole idea that it comes, you know, without expecting it, and boom, there it is, and then how it affects the rest of the world too.
What other social conscious songs have you written as well?
Oh, I've written so many. I mean, since I, subsequent to my deal with Prince, I signed a record deal with Sony 550, and I recorded that in Detroit, Michigan. And as I became acquainted with the poverty and the job loss and the amount of unused land in the city of Detroit, I eventually put my music career on the back burner and started the charity called Urban Farming. And through the work of Urban Farming, I've written so many songs about, you know, what people are going through in this world. And I always, most of the time, I think almost always, there may be one or two songs here or there, but almost always I end my songs with a positive vibe. So I may, it's kind of like the hero's journey within the lyrics of the song.
Yeah.
So the hero, you know, you're introduced to the hero. If you're a writer of a movie or television, you know about the hero's journey, and or a book, and you're introduced to the hero, and then if you're looking at it like a clock, at about like 12:30, you meet him at 12:15, you're getting to know all the person's friends. 12:30, there's a bunch of conflict. By 12:45, it's the heat of the conflict, and then by 1 o'clock, within one circle, it's the hero's circle journey, then the conflict is resolved. So I am a real proponent of making sure that the hero's journey is resolved within the song, because if I'm only talking about the problem, then I'm keeping the listener in the problem, and I'm never giving them a way out. And I think it's really important to, especially when we're talking about lyrics that heal, to, you know, show the way out, give the solution, and or just focus on the solution. So one of the two. But I make it a point so that if I'm framing some sort of a challenge or a problem within my song, that I'm also framing the solution and the triumph.
Yeah, you know, I had a radio show for 3 years when I lived in the States with a dear friend of mine from North Carolina, Denise Newton, right? And I had asked this lady, I said, get me on the radio at least 3 times a week. And I never met the woman, but she lived in Kentucky, and she got in touch with this one organization radioguestlist.com. And because terrestrial radio is on its way out, that's radio where you, in your car and you're switching channels, all of a sudden it goes out, right? But
Right.
but not with the internet. See, you can punch your favorite station in, and no matter where you at on the planet, as long as they got internet, you can get it, right? And so,
Right.
Blog Talk Radio, I think they had like 4 million listeners, and you could pay like $30 a month or something like that. We had our own show, and so anyway, the woman in Kentucky, she gets in touch with this woman named Denise, who's she's a amazing radio personality in that area, and we have a conversation for an hour and a half, right? And she goes, Skyler, that was fun. We should do this again. I said, how about next Tuesday? And how about the Tuesday after that? And it went on for 3 years. And
wow.
I invited every guest, Melba Moore and all kind of people on my show. And it was a conversation piece. But the trippy thing is, she said, what we gonna call it? I said, we're gonna call it Solutions Now. And
There
she
you
said,
go.
She said,
Yeah.
why? She said, why? I said, because it's not about the problem. It's about the solution.
Yes.
You know, when I started urban farming, we were beginning to say we're going to eradicate hunger in our generation. But I learned about framing things in the solution and focusing only on the solution. So we say we're creating an abundance of food for all in our generation. So what's the thing that we want? And just say that.
That's exactly right.
Don't say the thing that we're fighting against. And one of the things I just want to say, you asked me about some of the songs that I've written that are healing. One of them is called Be Free.
Yeah.
And I wrote it with a wonderful, he was a producer and guitar player named Sean Carrington, and he just passed away in a car crash 2 weeks ago. So I wanted to give honor to him in this interview and acknowledge him. He was in my band when I was signed to Sony, and he started his career in my band. Yeah. And he subsequently went on to work with Jay-Z and Beyonce and Mary J. Blige and everyone. He's one of the top guitarists out there and an amazing producer. And I'm blessed to have been able to write several songs with him where he produced and he played everything. And Be Free was one of them. I have a song called Blessings. That's another. I mean, I've written wonderful songs with Sean Carrington. So I want to give a shout out to my band. They're all in pain and heartbreak right now, and his family and friends, and also just a blessing to Sean Carrington.
And we send them all beautiful blessings and healing.
Yes, our thoughts and healing prayers are with them all.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I just lost 2 of my dear friends in the last week too. And yeah. You know, we all have our exit date. But we don't know when that is, right? No. And it doesn't matter what the ailment was or how you left. You were supposed, I believe life is a book. And so you open up the book, what's the first thing you see? Is the table of contents. What is the table of contents? That's all the chapters in your life. Yes. Whether you went to a school, whether you had a relationship with somebody, whether your car that you had for they're all chapters, right? Yeah. Right. And we're living our chapter every single day, right? But it's what you put in your book. So I choose to when I transition to, I want people to look back on my life. You know what? He did more good. Yes. than mischief or whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Right. Amazing work, Skyler. And so do you as well.
No. Spread love. I ain't never had no money, but that doesn't stop me from spreading love, right?
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. I was speaking to another friend of mine. He's a choreographer named Jimmy Locust, and he has a dance school, and he's done great things. He's danced with Michael Jackson and Janet, and he's he was just saying, you know, it's all about spreading love. It's not about judging people. It's about loving people. And, you know, I mean, and my husband always, Les Daggs, he always talks about, you know, the uniqueness of each person.
That's right.
And how important it is for people to find their own uniqueness and to really know what that is for yourself. So I think that when we are living in those kinds of spaces where we can really be more conscious of those types of things and perspectives and understandings, that we start to hum, you know, we start to be in tune with ourselves, and then therefore more in tune with others.
That's the Om sign. That's the Om sign up there. When we start being in tune with each other, right?
Yes.
Yes. And
peace, love, and harmony, isn't it? At the end
that's
of the
right.
day. Peace, love, and harmony. And
really
we send peace, love, and harmony to those around us. It starts a ripple effect and going all the way across the world as well. And we can heal this world with music for global change and social conscious music. And as I say, you do amazing work, Skyler, and so does Taja as well. And I want to thank both of you for all the amazing work that you both do. And also, we are continuing to encourage other people to join the movement and start writing more social conscious music.
That's right.
Let's rock this world with music for global change.
That's right. And big up.
I want to say that is very, very important right now in our world.
Yes.
And the idea of what the artists are creating, whether it's music, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a Netflix show, whether it's a news story, no matter what it is, to really be careful of how we're talking about each other and what we're putting out in content, because we can put out wisdom and love and healing solutions, or we can put out twisted things that will take us in a twisted direction. And it's so I think, Skyler, you're putting a call out, and I'm right there with you, to all artists to really be mindful of what you're putting in your music. And I've written some television series as well. And I'm very mindful when, you know, my husband and I have written some together, and we're very mindful about what we're putting out there. So,
well, big up Les for me, because, you know, he was right about this, because like the uniqueness of each other, of us all, right? Because, you know, Oprah Winfrey, on her very last show after 25 years of asking questions, right? So somebody asked her a question at the end of the show, and they said, "What have you learned?" She goes, "I've learned that everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard, and everybody wants to be felt."
Yes.
That's where I'm bigging up Les at, as the uniqueness part. Those three things are just, they're the human in all of us, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think you can overwhelm negativity. Let everybody be talking all negative in a party, and then you bring in 20 people laughing, and eventually it's going to turn out to be your song, Contagious.
Yes. And we can change the negativity by replacing it with peace and love and positivity. And, you know, we can lead with an example from our own lives and the ripple effect of positive change.
Let everybody be in a bad mood, and then look what happens at funerals, right? You're crying at the funeral, and then everybody go eat, start partying.
Well, and
right?
they're healing together, and usually bringing up things that we can laugh about. You know, oh, do you remember when so and so did this or that?
Exactly.
Positive memories.
You know,
Positive.
Exactly. I remember when Love is Contagious was shooting up the charts in England, and I went over and I was doing interviews, and the one question that was not asked to me, which was always asked in the United States, is what genre of music do you think would you describe your music as?
Yeah.
Which they would always ask me that in the United States, but they would never ask that in Europe. And so I started inquiring about that on the side, and they said, well, we listen to everything over here, and the stations play everything, and so they just don't think about it in the same way that the US, which had really, categorized everything and put people into these categories. And I think a lot of my early music was all about getting rid of categories and getting rid of, time and just sort of flowing with whatever the your own uniqueness is telling you to flow with. And now I see, it's interesting. It's like we have a culture that on one hand doesn't want to be categorized, but on the other hand is vehemently, saying, here's where we're going to be, this is where I'm categorized. And they're even adding new categories now to like forms, college forms and whatnot that have never been there. And my whole thing is, why do you even have a category at all? Like, why should it be on any form? Just let the person's name and, why do we have all these, who cares what, race or gender or whatever, just let a person be, but don't try to vehemently claim all these categories, because now everyone's boxing themselves even further into corners and categories, when I think that if we just kind of let things happen naturally, and we just don't try to categorize each other so much, and just sort of size each other up on what kind of person we are on the inside. And if you connect and you strike a chord with the person, then great. And if not, then go your own way. But I've not been one for all the categories, but I see so many of them now. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that's part of our movement of Music for Global Change, is to break down the barriers. Like I said, get rid of racism, age discrimination, and image in music, because they have nothing to do with the sound of music, right? And so you have these business people that run the industry, right? And they can't play music, but then they make more money than the people that create it. That's the thing that that I'm out to stop. If you're a creator with the content, look at it like this. It's the music business. It's not the business music. Without the music,
there's no business.
There wouldn't be any. Yeah.
No.
Very true.
It's an interesting thing, because without the music, there'd be no business. Without the business, there wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to get the music out in the way. Like, I used to have discussions with Prince about independent music. And at first, I think everyone was gung-ho about being independent. But I think even for Prince, as time went on, as you embark upon the path of being an independent, you rapidly begin to realize the value of the vast network that the music labels have provided to you as an artist.
that's right.
Because when you can travel to almost every major city and some smaller cities around the world in every country, and have a greeter from that record label greet you when your plane lands, take you out to dinner, drive you around the city and out into the countryside to meet all of these different people who, this is the way it used to be, who had, record stores. That's an amazing network that costs a lot of money. And so, and it takes a lot of coordination, and any one person is really, unable to do that unless you're just a multi-billionaire at this point. And so that's something that I learned, that it sounds great to be indie, but I did gain a greater respect for what the record labels had done for me. I think it's a mix, and I think what's sorely missing right now is, going back to what we were saying, is the content of the music and the wisdom and the love and the solutions and the healing for our world. The content has become sort of lowest common denominator in terms of what's being said in a lot of mainstream music, not all of it, but and so I just would encourage any artists, again, whether they are music or television or movies, whether they're writers or producers, to be mindful about what you're putting out into this world,
That's right.
because what you're putting out into this world, the more, even though it may be in vogue to have the most twisted movies and television and music, it's not in vogue. It's something that is it's contributing to further demise of our societies, and it's one contributing factor. I'll just say it's not the end all, but it's one contributing factor. So it's important for people to be mindful of what they're putting out into the world.
It certainly is, because we can't be responsible for other people, but we can be responsible for ourselves. And like you say, you know, everything is energy and everything is consciousness. So like you say, it's taking responsibility for what we are actually sending out to the world consciously, and, you know, through like our thought process, how we come across, how we speak, and also through our music as well. You know, it's leading a positive example, not a negative one. And I think it's just wonderful to encourage other singer-songwriters to come around to this way of thinking and write more positive songs to bring more healing to humanity as well as to the world. And that's what Music for Global Change is also about, isn't it, Skyler?
Just got a desire to inspire.
Certainly.
Right?
I love that.
That's a good one.
Tom, is there something you'd like to ask?
I'm just wondering whether you have any more plans really to write anything more in the social conscious kind of area as far as music goes. Are you going back to music now, or because obviously you've done the books as well? So I just wonder if are you now more into writing, or are you still going back to songs? Is that something you're still passionate about?
Well, I've been writing this entire time, but I am now writing my next CD and recording it. And I've also just taken on a radio show on healthylife.net, which begins airing in November, and it's all a positive station. It's an internet station. It goes to over 135 countries around the world.
Wow!
Wow!
And
congratulations.
The name of it is Love is Contagious.
Of course.
It's an all positive show, and I'll be playing my music. But I am recording. I never stopped recording. I just put my music career, as I say, on the back burner, but it's on the front burner again, and we're very excited. We also with urban farming, we've just started a company called Urban Farming Family, and so what we're doing is we're gifting families and individuals with edible walls, which are literally vertically growing vertical walls, vertical gardens. Wow. So it's like a garden on a wall. And so we're gifting them with these units so that they can begin to have their own food security. So that's another project that I've been working on. So,
I'm just going from flow. That would be amazing animation.
It would.
For kids to where they teach them how to plant different flowers and fruits and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could you could use that for that could be like a Pixar kind of thing where they're just showing children how the benefits of it'd be really beautiful.
Wow.
That's a great idea, and it's important for people to at least know how to grow their own food, because you never know what's going to happen in life. And we've had people tell us over and over they would much rather grow their own food than to stand in a bread line and they want empowerment. And so that's what we do. We give the fishing pole, not just the fish. And so if you check out urbanfarmingfamily.com, you can either buy these walls and give them to others or buy them for yourself. They can go indoors or outdoors, and they're very, very cool. And again, if you go to tajasevelle.com, I'm sure you'll probably put that up for people to go to, but you'll be able to find out more about the radio show and the new details about the new CD that I'm putting out.
Yeah, and
that I'm recording.
Now, are you doing any women's empowerment kind of?
I'm all about empowering everybody.
Right.
I just think it's so important to empower everyone and not leave anyone out. So that's where I sit. But I'm a woman and I'm doing a lot. So I'm hoping that other people are inspired, including other women. I think that we all have our own sort of challenges in this world.
Right.
And I love men. I think, I don't want to leave them out, but I also support all of my sisters out there.
Well. The reason why I'm saying is because my dear friend Denise, she writes these women empowerment books, and
Cool.
you would fit right in. I had a theme song for her book. She goes and find out all these amazing women. I mean, look, you're writing books, you're doing this, you're doing that, and young teenage girls need to be empowered, or to have you speak to them like, hey, you know what? I took something from nothing and made something from it, and you can too.
Yes. Well, it's
possible,
very important. Sorry?
Anything is possible if you set your mind to it, and also
That's right.
believe in yourself as well. And I think it's wonderful that you're going back to Dharma living, really, living off the earth, and it's like going full circle, really, when you think about it, and encouraging more people. And when you actually grow it yourself, there's not going to be any pesticides and bad chemicals actually on the produce. It's actually going to be organic, and it's going to be good, wholesome food that isn't going to damage the physical body as well, which is really important.
What do you mean?
Because I was just honored a couple of nights ago at a fundraiser to raise money for regenerative and sustainable farming, meaning that it's organic and it's no pesticides, no chemical fertilizers. And the farmers that are transitioning into this type of farming are finding that they're getting more yield. They're making more money, and that the what they're growing on the land then is so much more healthy. And I do talk about that in this book, in From the Root, about the importance of organic and healthy eating. And that's, to me, that's a way of honoring yourself and others and the earth, to make sure that we're eating right and we're building our immune systems and we're taking care of our bodies, our minds, and our souls. And also, it's funny because regenerative farming, most people don't know it, but it actually pulls carbon out of the air, which it's supposed to, and brings it back into the ground. So even if just 20% of the farmers around the world transitioned into it, that would stop global warming in 5 years. That's what I was told.
You know what's a serious blessing that you have? Is that you can write a song about it.
You could actually. You could all about.
Yes, I could.
All about the farming.
Well, I'll get to work on that.
Yeah.
When's your next CD due to be finished? When are you publishing?
Well, I'm looking at spring. I'm recording it now, and so we'll see. I mean, we have so many things going on, but I've already written probably half of it. So
wow,
it's really easy for
on the way.
It's easy for me to write if I'm not doing other things. I can just write. I wrote Toys of Vanity in 3 months. Wrote and recorded it, and to me, it's one of my best CDs lyrically, and musically, and it just is really a deep CD, a really cool one. But I do have all these other projects happening. So
yeah.
Busy lady.
And I just want to say, it was the August West Foundation that that we were raising money for. So just to give them a shout out, because they're really trying to help farmers transition. But so springtime would be great.
I gotta ask. I ask every musician this, so don't. Which one do you like the best? And everybody says both, but I'm just being real. Do you like performing or recording best?
Well, I love to record, and I love to perform when I have the right support behind me, because I've learned that if you're trying to go on the road and you don't have the right support, it's not as fun as when you go on the road and you do have the right support. So I've had both scenarios. I love to perform with the right team behind me.
but so when you were, I'm talking about, when you was, 8, 9 years old, whenever you started, right? Performing is there's nothing like getting in front of music lovers, right?
Yeah. It's amazing.
I like recording. Recording is fun too. That's a lot of, but there's nothing like music lovers, right?
No, there's nothing like going out with a live band and performing, and it's like you're blessed when you can live that way, because it's almost like, I can't even describe how fun it is. It's so much fun.
That's right.
That it's like you're living in the Willy Wonka, chocolate factory.
Yeah,
and that's your home.
I mean, I've been performing for 55 years now, right? And it's still way more fun than anything to get in front of music lovers. And you got thousands of people, or even 50 people, whatever, in front of you, right? And for that 5 minutes of that song, I mean, it's nothing like that, right? And the trippy thing is about performing is like a 90-minute set is about 15 songs, right? And each one of the subjects could be, they'll be totally different, like movies, right?
Yeah.
And you're supposed
to take them on a ride.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, even when I was doing like cover songs, right? You do that long. Each song was totally different, even though they love songs, right? What I love about what I'm doing now has nothing to do about me or love songs. It has to do about healing, education, and solving problems with any kind of instrument you want, right? Because music is emotion, right? It's emotion. Now, if you can you put that subject on top of them, you got them, and you go do that in front of people.
Well, and it's also when you love a song, and in that moment you're hearing it, but also you recall it later. It could be there 3 days later. It comes in your head, and then you get the feeling again. It's interesting with planting food. You're planting a seed in the ground. You don't get instant gratification. You're watering, and it may be 2 weeks, or a week, 2 weeks before you see anything. You're watering dirt. Yeah. So you have to go on that faith that it's going to come up, and you still go through the motions of taking care and nurturing, even when you're just watering dirt, which is what I call the dirt phase. And it's all about faith in that moment. And I think it's important for us to have that balance, because yes, when I'm on stage or when I'm recording, it's great and it's instant gratification, but it's been so important for me to learn in my life and to remember or to relearn that some of the things that it's important to wait for and nurture them the right way, and then they'll flourish in a healthy way.
Yeah. Don't forget about the sunshine now. It plays a
and the sunshine.
Plays a real important.
Can't forget about that.
The seed, the soil, the water, and sunshine. They all gotta have.
Gotta have it. And speaking of which, I have to get back on the road because this storm is, and we don't want to get caught in it.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. Bless you, your busy schedule, and I hope you get back safely as well from the storm.
Safe journey.
Bless you. Thank you so
Thank
much. We've loved
Thanks
so much. It's a pleasure, and I'm very supportive of what you're doing. I'll send you some music if you want to play it on the show.
Yes,
some healing music, and we will continue this conversation and really, encourage people to continue to write healing music and TV shows and movies, etc. So we just want to encourage all artists to do that and support what Skyler is doing here. So thank you for having me on the show. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you so much, and we love to have you back sometime. But what's so great about this show is this: we're all inspiring each other to do something different that's needed. You know what I mean? That if we put a whole lot of good feeling music, because people are tired of bad news, let's give them some good news. Let's give them some good news.
Good news, yes, uplifting. That's right. That's right. Well, hey, love is contagious.
Yes. Namaste, my sister.
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. sing our humanity.